AITA for exposing my family's perfect photo lie after they erased me for 12 years? I'm Claire, 34, the younger daughter in a family that somehow always had room for matching sweaters, coordinated captions, and framed portraits, but not for me. My parents, Linda and Robert, spent years acting like my absence was a personality flaw instead of a decision they kept making without me. And Lauren, my older sister, never had to ask for the spotlight. Everyone just stepped out of it for her, including me, until the day they finally wanted me back in the picture for a reason that had nothing to do with love. Growing up with Lauren was like living near a stage where the lights were always pointed one direction. She was 4 years older, prettier in the way relatives like to say out loud, louder in the way adults mistook for confidence, and polished enough that my mother could brag about her without checking if the brag was true. Lauren did not have to demand attention. She just tilted her head and waited, and my parents gave it to her. Every birthday dinner somehow became a story about Lauren. If I got an award, Linda would say, "Lauren used to do that too, remember?" If I helped clean up after Thanksgiving, Robert would tell people, "Lauren organized most of this." If a camera appeared, my mother would shift people around like furniture. "Let Lauren stand in front," she would say. This is a big moment for her. Somehow every moment was a big moment for Lauren. I learned early not to complain in public. I wasn't silent because I didn't notice. I was silent because naming it never improved anything. It only gave my parents a new word to use against me. Sensitive, jealous, difficult, dramatic. The family photos became the clearest version of it. First it was small. A picture from brunch where I had gone to refill the coffee and came back to everyone already posed. A framed photo in the hallway from a family dinner where I had been the one taking the picture. A holiday album online where Linda tagged every cousin, every aunt, even Lauren's old neighbor who had stopped by for pie, but not me. When I asked about it, Mom always had the same soft, wounded voice. "Claire, honey, we thought you wouldn't want the attention. Or you hate posing. Lauren said so." Lauren would laugh like she had just remembered something adorable about me. "You do hate posing," she said once, tapping her acrylic nails on the table. "You always look like you're being held hostage." I had never said I hated photos. I hated being included only when someone needed a person to hold a tray, take the picture, or make Lauren look generous. By my late 20s, the family had a whole public version of me. In Facebook albums, I was missing. In year-end newsletters Linda printed and mailed to older relatives, I was described as busy doing her own thing or independent as always. At gatherings I didn't know had happened, people apparently asked where I was, and Linda answered with a sigh. "Claire likes her space. We respect that." I found out about a summer cookout 2 days after it happened when a cousin posted photos. I had spent that Saturday folding laundry and eating leftovers while my entire family sat in my parents' backyard under string lights. I texted Mom, "Was there a family cookout yesterday?" She replied 20 minutes later, "It was last minute. Didn't think you'd want to drive over for burgers." I wrote, "I would have liked to be asked." She sent back, "Please don't make this heavy. It was just food." Robert was worse because he made dismissal sound reasonable. "Your mother can't read your mind," he told me when I called him. "You say you want space, then get upset when people give it to you." "I never said I wanted space from family events," I said. He sighed into the phone like I had assigned him homework. "Don't make this bigger than it is." That was Robert's favorite sentence. It meant he wanted the conversation over before any accountability walked into the room. The strange part is that I didn't stop helping. I wish I could say I saw the pattern and cut them off right away, but I didn't. I was still trying to prove something. Not in a loud way. I just kept showing up where I was allowed to show up. When Mom's refrigerator died, I sent money to help cover the repair because Robert was complaining about bills. Linda texted, "Can you not mention this to Lauren? She feels bad when she can't help." When Aunt Grace's anniversary brunch needed flowers, Mom asked if I could order them because Lauren was overwhelmed. I paid for the arrangements, and in the family group chat Aunt Grace wrote, "Lauren, the flowers were beautiful. You always think of everything." Lauren replied with a heart emoji. I stared at the receipt in my email and told myself not to be petty. Another time, Linda asked me to cover the deposit for a photographer for Robert's birthday dinner because Lauren had apparently planned something special but was short on cash until the following week. It'll mean so much to your father, Mom said. I paid it. I was not invited to the final dinner. 2 weeks later, I saw the photos in the hallway when I dropped off a bag of old family documents Mom claimed she needed. Linda, Robert, Lauren, and Lauren's then-husband Daniel stood in matching Navy outfits, laughing like a catalog family. Oh, I said before I could stop myself. Linda followed my eyes. That was just a small thing. You were busy. You didn't ask me. Lauren walked in behind us and said, Claire, please. You hate those formal things. I looked at the photo again. Daniel had one hand in his pocket and the other resting loosely behind Lauren. He looked tired. I didn't know then how tired. Maya was the first person who said the quiet part out loud to me. Maya is my cousin, a year younger than me, and one of the only people in that family who texted me without needing something. We weren't attached at the hip, but she had a good memory and a low tolerance for fake sweetness. One night she texted me a screenshot of a family brunch photo and wrote, "Were you invited to this?" I wrote, "No. Didn't know it happened." She replied, "That's weird. Your mom said you had plans." A minute later she added, "I don't think you're distant. I think they keep telling people you are." I remember sitting on my kitchen floor with my back against the cabinet, reading that text over and over. I didn't cry because Maya had said something cruel. I cried because someone had finally said something accurate. After that, Maya would quietly check. If there was a family dinner, she would ask if I knew. If I didn't, she stopped accepting Linda's explanations at face value. She did not start a war. Neither did I. But she helped me keep receipts without making me feel crazy for needing them. For years I still kept peace as much as I could. I answered Mother's Day texts. I sent birthday cards. I brought groceries when Mom said Robert's blood pressure medication had made him nauseated and nobody had gone shopping. I let Lauren talk over me at Easter. I let Robert tell me I was too literal when I pointed out that I was not in another round of family pictures. Then came Linda's text about the reunion shoot. It was a Tuesday evening. I was eating toast over the sink because I hadn't felt like making a real dinner. My phone buzzed. Linda. Hi, sweetheart. Your father and I would really love to do a professional family photo with everyone together this time. No pressure, but it would mean a lot if you came. Then, because Linda always knew how to dress manipulation up as tenderness, she sent a second message. Linda. We miss having the whole family in one place. Healing looks good on everyone. I actually laughed, not because it was funny but because the phrasing sounded like a caption had escaped her drafts. I sent the screenshot to Maya. Maya called me within 2 minutes. Are you going? She asked. I don't know. What do you want to do? That question annoyed me because the honest answer was embarrassing. I wanted to go. Part of me, the part one thought had grown up and stopped waiting by the window, still wanted my parents to want me in a picture because they had realized I belonged there. I wanted an apology without having to request it like a refund. I wanted one family event where my presence was not treated like a scheduling error. Maybe they're trying, I said. Maya was quiet for a second. Maybe. Just don't confuse a costume change with a character change. That's bleak. It's practical. Drive yourself. Save every text. And Claire. Yeah. Don't sign anything you haven't read. I almost joked that nobody asked people to sign paperwork at a photo studio, but something in her voice stopped me. The day of the shoot, I arrived 10 minutes early. I drove myself like Maya told me to. The studio was tucked into a bland commercial building with big windows, white walls, and a waiting area that smelled like hairspray and new carpet. There were softboxes set up in the main room, a stool near a gray backdrop, and a photographer named Elise who smiled too carefully when I walked in. My parents were already there. So was Lauren. They were all dressed in coordinated creams, tans, and soft browns. Linda had pearls on. Robert wore a beige sweater that looked like he had been coached into it. Lauren stood near the mirror in a fitted ivory dress, her hair curled, checking her phone every few seconds. I had worn a blue blouse because Linda had texted, "Soft blues and neutrals, please. Nothing too dark." When Mom saw me, her smile tightened. "Oh," she said. "That's brighter than I pictured." "You said blue." I meant soft blue, honey. Not office blue. I looked down at my shirt. It was not neon. It was just blue enough to exist. Linda lifted a folded cardigan from a chair. I brought this in case. It was oatmeal-colored and shapeless, the kind of cardigan that makes a person look like background furniture. I could almost respect how committed she was to visual hierarchy. I'm fine in this, I said. Lauren's eyes flicked up from her phone. Can we not make the outfit thing a whole thing? I answered one sentence, I said. Robert rubbed his forehead. Let's just have a nice day. There it was. My presence had barely entered the room and already the piece needed protecting from me. Aunt Grace was there too, which surprised me. She sat in the corner holding her purse with both hands, wearing a green scarf and the expression of someone who had been told this would be simpler than it was. Grace is Linda's younger sister, and for a long time I thought she believed the official version of me. Distant Claire. Busy Claire. Claire who never came around. She gave me a small smile, but it faded quickly. The photographer came over with a clipboard. We're just about ready, Elise said. Linda, I have the shot list you emailed. We can start with the parents and Lauren, then bring Claire in for the full family group, and then maybe do siblings after that. I turned my head slowly. Parents and Lauren first? I asked. Linda fluttered a hand. Just to warm up. Elise, trying to be helpful, handed the printed list to Linda. I saw it before Linda could fold it. The top line said, Linda and Robert with Lauren seated center. Under that, Lauren standing between parents. Then, whole family Lauren center, Claire back left. Then, whole family Lauren seated, Claire behind Robert. Then siblings Lauren front, Claire angled. Every version of inclusion had me at an edge or behind someone. I wasn't shocked exactly. I was disappointed at how predictable it still was. Why am I back left in every shot? I asked. Lauren exhaled sharply. It's composition. Don't start. I asked a question. You always ask questions like you're building a case. I looked at Linda. Is this the photo where everyone is together? Or is this still the Lauren show with extra witnesses? Mom's face hardened for half a second before the softness returned. Claire, we are trying to have a beautiful day. Please don't make it about old pain. That phrase landed strangely. Old pain. Not old behavior. Not old choices. Pain, as if it had simply appeared in the family like weather. I almost left right then. I could feel the old humiliation rising in my throat, hot and familiar. But then I noticed Lauren whispering to Robert near the refreshment table. Robert shook his head once, not like a father calming a daughter, but like a man warning someone to wait. Lauren checked her phone again. Something was off. On a small table near the coat rack, Linda had placed her purse, a stack of release forms from the studio, and a folder with a yellow sticky note on top. My name was written on it in Linda's neat, rounded handwriting. Claire. I stared at it for a second too long. Before I could move, Aunt Grace walked up beside me and said quietly, I'm glad you came. Maybe once everyone sees you all together, they'll stop worrying about Evelyn's things. I turned to her. What things? Grace's mouth opened, then closed. She looked past me at Linda. Mom crossed the room too fast. Grace, she said, smiling with only her mouth, that is not for today. What isn't for today? I asked. Robert said, Claire. Not now. Lauren's phone lowered in her hand. I looked at the folder again. Why is my name on that? Linda moved toward the table, but I was closer. I picked up the folder. Claire, Mom said, and this time the softness was gone. Inside was a document titled Acknowledgement of Family Heirloom Review. It had my legal name typed near the top. Beneath that were paragraphs stating that all adult descendants of Evelyn had been informed of the status of certain family heirlooms, that the preservation fund had been reviewed, and that I did not object to Lauren continuing to manage the items on behalf of the family. I read the first page twice because my brain refused to accept what my eyes were seeing. Evelyn was my grandmother. She died when I was in my early 20s. She had a cedar chest full of family pieces. Jewelry, old watches, a silver comb set, embroidered linens, a little collection of brooches, and envelopes with handwritten notes explaining who should eventually get what. There was also a small fund meant to pay for appraisal, preservation, storage, and eventual fair division. I had not heard anything about a review. I had not been informed of the status. I had not agreed to Lauren managing anything. The last time I asked about Grandma Evelyn's cedar chest, Linda told me it was safe, and that Lauren was handling the details because she understands these things. I held up the paper. Why does a family photo need my signature? The room went quiet enough that I could hear the soft buzz of the studio lights. Elise looked down at her clipboard like she wished it would open into a trapdoor. Linda took a breath. It's just a formality. A formality I didn't know existed? Robert's jaw tightened. It's to settle questions. Some relatives are confused. About what? Lauren stepped forward. Nothing that involves you losing anything. That sentence told me more than she meant it to. I flipped to the second page. There was a signature line with my name under it. A blue sticky tab marked where I was supposed to sign. On the side of the folder was another paper, partly covered by the studio release form. I shifted it with one finger. It was a draft of a social media caption in Linda's handwriting. Whole family together again. Healing looks good on us. So grateful our girls are united in protecting Evelyn's legacy. I looked up. You wrote the caption before speaking to me? Linda's cheeks flushed. It was a draft. A draft for a lie. Enough, Robert said. His voice was low, the voice he used when he wanted to sound like the only adult in the room. Just smile for 20 minutes. That is all we're asking. No, I said. That is not all you're asking. Lauren laughed once, sharp and nervous. You wanted to be included for years. Now you are. Don't ruin it. I turned to her. Included in what? A photo or a cover story? She looked at Linda. That was the first time I saw panic instead of annoyance. Aunt Grace whispered. Linda, what is going on? Mom ignored her. She stepped close to me and lowered her voice. Can you please not make this about you for once? I almost smiled. There it was, fully dressed and ready for church. The family motto. You put my name on paperwork I never saw, I said. You placed me in the back of photos you were going to use to prove unity. And you were going to get me emotional enough to sign after 12 years of pretending I didn't want to be in the room. What part of that is not about me? Robert looked at the photographer. Can we have a minute? Elise nodded so fast I felt bad for her. Of course. I'll just be right outside. When she left, Linda's voice turned colder. You have no idea how much stress Lauren has been under. Lauren crossed her arms. I've been handling Grandma's things for everyone. People don't understand how much work that is. Then explain it, I said. What is missing? No one answered. My stomach dropped, but my hands got steadier. That was the strange thing. The bigger the betrayal became, the calmer I felt. Not peaceful. Not numb. Focused. I took out my phone and photographed the acknowledgement document. Every page I could see. I took a picture of the shot list. I took a picture of Linda's caption draft. I did not take the originals. I did not shout. I did not call anyone names. Lauren lunged for the folder. What are you doing? I stepped back. Keeping a record. Robert pointed at me. You will regret turning family business into evidence. It became evidence when my name became a prop. Linda's eyes shone, but it was not sadness. It was fury trying to pass as heartbreak. You're humiliating us. I put the folder back exactly where I found it. No, I said. I'm declining the job you invited me here to do. Lauren snapped. You're being insane. Maybe, I said. But I'm not signing a document I was hidden from. I grabbed my purse and walked out before they could rearrange my guilt into another obligation. The hallway outside the studio was quiet and smelled faintly of printer ink. I made it to my car before my hands started shaking. I locked the doors and sat there with my phone in my lap, breathing through my nose like Maya had once taught me when I got overwhelmed at a family wedding. My phone lit up. Mom, please come back inside. We can talk after photos. Lauren. You are making this so much uglier than it has to be. Robert. Do not drive away angry. I did not answer. I called Maya. She picked up on the first ring. Tell me. I sent her the document photos while I talked. My voice shook at first, then leveled out as I explained the shot list, the caption, Grace's comment, the acknowledgement. Maya was silent until I finished. Then she said, Do not argue in their room. Save everything. Make them explain it in writing. I left. Good. I feel like I'm overreacting. Claire, they invited you to a family photo with a signature tab. That's not a reunion. That's paperwork with lighting. I laughed once, ugly and relieved. What do I do now? Screenshot before anyone deletes anything. Save the invitation text. Save today's messages. Make a folder. And don't send them a speech. Dates, receipts, documents. They built the story. You're just adding the missing pages. I stayed in that parking lot for another 15 minutes, saving everything. Then I drove home without turning on music. Every few minutes, another text appeared on my lock screen. Linda. Your father is devastated. Lauren. You don't even understand the situation. Robert. We will discuss this when everyone is calm. Aunt Grace. Claire, please call me when you can. I am sorry. I did not know you didn't know. That last one made my chest tighten. I called Grace when I got home. She answered from her car. I could hear traffic faintly through the speaker. I didn't want Linda hearing me, she said. What did you mean about Evelyn's things? Grace exhaled shakily. Some of us have been asking for an inventory. Your uncle asked after the pearl earrings because Evelyn had written they were supposed to go to his daughter eventually. Linda said Lauren had everything under control, but then there were delays. Then Daniel mentioned something during the separation. And people started wondering. Wondering what? That pieces were gone. I closed my eyes. And the fund? I don't know exactly. I know there was money for appraisals and preservation. Linda said Lauren had receipts. But when your uncle asked for copies, she said everyone needed to stop attacking Lauren. Then your mother said a full family photo and a signed acknowledgement would show that the adult grandchildren were aware and united. Grace, did you think I had been included? She was quiet. I believed what Linda told me, she said finally. That you didn't want to be involved. That you had pulled away. I wasn't invited to most of this family for years. Her breath caught. Maya said that, but I didn't want to believe your mother would do that. She did. I should have asked you directly. That was cowardly of me. I appreciated the honesty more than I expected. Do you have anything in writing about the inventory? Some emails. Old photos of the cedar chest from when Evelyn was alive. I'll send what I have. She paused. Claire, I don't know everything, but I know that document was real. And I know Linda wanted your signature before the older relatives met next month. There it was. Timing. They had not suddenly missed me. They had a deadline. The next person I contacted was Daniel. I hesitated before doing it because Daniel and Lauren were separated, and I did not want to step into someone else's divorce mess. But his name had come up, and he had always been oddly kind to me in a quiet way. At family dinners when Lauren interrupted me, Daniel would sometimes ask, "What were you saying, Claire?" It wasn't much, but in my family, being allowed to finish a sentence felt like a luxury. I sent him a short message. Daniel, I know this may be uncomfortable. I was shown an acknowledgement today about Grandma Evelyn's heirlooms and Lauren managing the items. Aunt Grace mentioned missing pieces and said your name came up. I am not asking you to take sides. I need to know if there are documents or dates I should be aware of before anyone uses my name. He called me instead of texting. I'm not doing this to hurt Lauren, he said after I picked up. He sounded exhausted. I'm doing it because I'm tired of being blamed for receipts I didn't create. What happened? During the separation, Lauren told people I drained accounts and forced her to sell things. That isn't true. I didn't touch Evelyn's fund. I didn't even have access to it. Some of the items were gone before I moved out. Which items? I don't know all of them. I know about the pearl earrings because I saw the appraisal envelope. There was a gold watch, a cameo brooch, and some silver pieces. I have photos from when Linda brought the cedar chest over for Lauren to organize. A few months later, I saw pawn shop receipts in Lauren's email because we still had a shared printer account. I took screenshots when she tried to say they were mine. I pressed my fingers against my forehead. Why didn't you tell anyone? He laughed without humor. I tried. Linda said I was bitter. Robert said marital problems should stay between spouses. Lauren cried. Everyone picked the familiar story. Daniel failed Lauren. Lauren was overwhelmed. Claire was absent. It all fit. That sentence sat between us. Can you send me what you have? I asked. Yes. But Claire? Be careful. Your mother cares more about the family picture than the family. I'm learning. Over the next 3 days I built the folder. I named it The Photos I Was Never In. Not because I planned to be dramatic, but because I needed a title that would remind me what this was actually about. It was not just Grandma Evelyn's cedar chest. It was not just Lauren selling pieces or draining a preservation fund. It was years of being removed from the record, and then summoned back when my absence became inconvenient. I made sections. Not emotional sections. Evidence sections. There were screenshots of family albums where I was missing from events I had never been told about. There were texts where I asked Linda about a dinner after the fact and she replied, "We assumed you were busy." There was a screenshot from Maya showing the group chat planning a July brunch and Linda writing, "Don't invite Claire. She makes Lauren nervous." That one made me sit still for a long time. I remembered that July weekend. Linda had told Aunt Grace I was out of town. I had been home with a migraine, alone in a dark room, feeling guilty for not calling Mom back fast enough. There were money receipts, Venmo, Zelle, bank transfers, flower orders, the photographer deposit for Robert's birthday, a repair bill with my payment confirmation, a grocery delivery for Mom after she told me she was too tired to shop. Next to each receipt, I saved the matching family comment where Lauren got thanked, or where Linda told relatives I never contributed. There were emails from Linda. "Can you help with the deposit and not mention it? Lauren has been fragile. Please don't tell your father you paid the repair balance. He already feels bad enough. Let Lauren take the lead publicly. You know how sensitive she gets when she feels judged." There were documents from the studio. My photos of the shot list and caption draft. The acknowledgement with my name and signature tab. Then came Daniel's folder. Inventory photos from years ago. Close-ups of the cedar chest with Evelyn's handwritten tags. Email threads where Lauren told Daniel not to make a thing about receipts. Photos of pawn receipts that matched some of the missing pieces. A transfer from the preservation fund account to Lauren's personal account with a note that said, "Storage," even though Daniel's email showed the storage bill had already been paid from another account. I did not send everything. Maya was firm about that. "Don't dump 10 years of pain into the group chat," she said. "They'll call it a meltdown. Send enough that lying costs more than telling the truth." So I curated it. Dates, screenshots, documents, receipts, short labels, no insults, no theories I couldn't support. I made sure the folder showed a pattern without sounding like a diary. For a few days I waited. Not because I wanted them to apologize, although some stupid part of me still did. I waited because Maya was right. People like Linda do not leave silence alone. They fill it with their version first. On the 4th night, she did exactly that. The family group chat was called The Big Crew, a name Lauren had chosen years earlier. It included cousins, aunts, uncles, in-laws, and several older relatives who used too many thumbs-up emojis. I rarely wrote in it because every time I did, the conversation died or Linda changed the subject. At 7:18 p.m., Linda sent a message. "Linda, I don't want to burden everyone, but today was heartbreaking. We tried to have a healing family photo, and Claire walked out after making accusations. Your father is devastated. Please pray for peace." Robert followed 6 minutes later. "Robert, we tried. Some people refuse peace and prefer conflict." Then Lauren. Lauren. She begged to be included for years, then couldn't even smile for 20 minutes. I am done being punished for being the one who actually shows up for this family. A few relatives reacted with sad faces. One cousin wrote, "Oh no, I'm so sorry." Another wrote, "Family is hard. Hope everyone can forgive." My face got hot, but I did not type. I watched the lie settle like dust. Maya texted me privately. "Maya, don't let it harden." I opened the folder. My hands were steady this time. I wrote one message. "Before anyone believes I ruined another family event, here's why I left. I was not invited to be family. I was invited to be a cover story." Then I posted the link. For about 30 seconds nothing happened. Then Aunt Grace wrote, "Linda, is this document real?" No answer. A cousin named Beth wrote, "Wait, Claire paid for Robert's birthday photographer? I thought Lauren organized that." Maya wrote, "Claire was not invited to the July brunch. I asked her that week. Linda told people she refused. She did not know it happened." Uncle Paul wrote, "What acknowledgement? Why is there a signature line for Claire if she wasn't told about the heirlooms?" Someone else wrote, "Are those Evelyn's inventory photos?" Linda finally replied, "Linda, this is private family business and not appropriate for a group chat." I stared at that sentence for a moment, then typed, "My absence was public for years. My supposed refusal to attend was public. Your post tonight was public to this family. The correction can be public too." Lauren called me immediately. I let it ring. She called again. Then my phone buzzed with a text. "Lauren, pick up. Now." I answered on the fourth call because I wanted one direct conversation and only one. She didn't say hello. "You ruined everything," she said. Her voice was high and breathless, not crying yet but close enough that she wanted credit for it. "No, Lauren," I said. "I stopped helping you hide it. You don't know what you're talking about." "Then explain the document. Explain the text where you said I'd come if Mom made it sound like she missed me." Silence. That screenshot had come from Linda's old email chain. Grace had forwarded it after finding it buried in a thread about scheduling the studio. Lauren had written, "She'll come if you make it sound like you miss her. We just need one clean photo and her signature." When I first read it, I didn't feel angry. I felt embarrassed for the part of me that had wanted the invitation to be real. Lauren found her voice. "You have always been jealous." "Of what?" I asked. "A portrait that needed paperwork? You are twisting everything." "No. For once, I'm not letting you twist it first." She let out a bitter laugh. "You think this makes you look good? Airing dirty laundry. I think it makes the laundry visible." Mom is crying. Dad is furious. Aunt Grace is acting like we committed a crime. "Did you sell Grandma's pieces?" She went quiet again. "Lauren, did you?" "I was desperate," she snapped. "Daniel left me with bills. Daniel sent receipts. Those items were gone before he moved out. He is a liar." "Then send your records." She breathed hard into the phone. "You are destroying my reputation." "No," I said. "You tried to borrow mine to repair yours. I'm not lending it." Then I hung up. Back in the group chat, the mood had changed. Some people were still confused. Some were defensive. Aunt Grace was not. "Aunt Grace. Linda, I believed what you told me. That does not mean it was true. Why didn't anyone tell us Claire paid for the flowers, the photographer deposit, and the repair bill?" "Linda. Because Claire asked to keep some things private." I replied, "No. You asked me not to mention them because Lauren was sensitive. Screenshots are in the folder." Robert wrote, "This is exactly what I mean. Claire keeps score." Uncle Paul answered before I could. "Uncle Paul. Receipts are not keeping score when someone else spent years taking credit." That was the first time an older relative defended me in a space where Linda could see it. I had to put the phone down for a minute. The photographer emailed the next morning. It was brief and painfully polite. She said that because the session could not proceed and the slot could not be rebooked on short notice, the deposit was non-refundable, but she wished our family well. Linda forwarded the email to the group chat like it proved something. "Linda, this is what Claire's behavior cost us." Beth replied, "Didn't Claire pay a photographer deposit before and not get invited?" No one responded to Linda after that. The planned healing post never went up. I know because I checked once, then hated that I checked. Linda had posted every family image for years like she was running a museum exhibit titled, "Look How Fine We Are." This time there was no photo, no caption, no soft-filtered proof of unity. Instead, older relatives started asking for written accounting of Evelyn's things. Aunt Grace called me again 2 days later. "Paul is requesting a formal inventory," she said. "He wants receipts for the fund." Linda is saying everyone is attacking Lauren. Of course she is. Robert tried to say this should have stayed private. "What did you say?" Grace hesitated. "I told him if they wanted privacy, They shouldn't have made your absence public for years. I didn't know what to say to that. A late defense does not erase old silence, but it still mattered. I thanked her. Daniel sent his supporting emails to the relatives involved in the heirloom review. He copied me but did not make himself the center. His message was careful. I am not trying to interfere in family matters. I am providing records because my name has been used to explain missing funds and items I did not access. The attached dates speak for themselves. The dates did speak. The pearl earrings had been pawned 8 months before Daniel moved out. The gold watch was sold during a weekend Lauren had claimed to be at Mom's house, organizing Evelyn's documents. A withdrawal from the preservation fund matched a credit card payment Lauren had made 2 days later. None of it looked like a movie villain scheme. It looked worse because it was ordinary. Bills. Shame. Lies. A family trained to cover the prettiest mess in the room. Lauren tried to keep blaming Daniel at first. Then she switched to saying she had borrowed against sentimental items and planned to replace them. Then she said nobody understood the pressure she was under. Every version had the same missing piece. She had not asked. She had not told the people who had a right to know. She had not told me until my signature became useful. Linda's control started slipping in small, humiliating ways. Relatives who used to comment hearts under her family posts stopped engaging. Aunt Grace asked questions in writing instead of over the phone. Uncle Paul refused to discuss the heirlooms unless all adult descendants were included on the email chain. Beth sent me a private apology that was awkward but sincere. I believed your mom when she said you didn't come around, Beth wrote. I'm sorry. I should have asked you. I appreciated it, but I didn't rush to comfort her. That was another habit I had to break. When people felt guilty about believing lies about me, I used to make them feel better so the room could relax. This time I wrote, "Thank you for saying that. I wish you had asked too." Robert called 3 times one Saturday morning. I did not answer. He texted, "Call me." I replied, "Anything about family documents can be sent in writing." He wrote back, "So now you're treating your father like a lawyer?" I typed deleted then typed again. "No. I'm treating paperwork like paperwork." He didn't answer. A week later I sent my own boundary message to Linda, Robert, and Lauren. I kept it clear because I knew Linda would look for any extra sentence she could turn into an emotional crime scene. I will not sign any acknowledgement, release, family statement or estate-related document without time to read it and independent advice. I will not appear in family photos used to suggest reconciliation or agreement that has not happened. I will not provide money deposits, gifts, or quiet financial help while being described as absent or uncaring. Any apology for a public lie needs to correct the public lie. I will not be used as evidence for a family story I was deliberately removed from. Linda replied first. "This is very cold." I did not respond. Robert replied an hour later. "You have always wanted to punish this family." I did not respond. Lauren replied close to midnight. "Enjoy being right and alone." That one almost got me. Not because it was clever but because it found an old bruise. For years my fear had been that if I stopped being useful I would prove them right. Difficult Claire. Distant Claire. Alone Claire. I sat with the phone in my hand for a long time. Then Maya texted me, as if she could feel me almost answering. "Maya, don't take bait from someone who needs your reaction to feel less guilty." I put the phone down. The heirloom inquiry did not become some dramatic courtroom battle. It became something more realistic and in a way more humiliating for them. Emails, certified letters, requests for copies, uncomfortable phone calls, and older relatives refusing to accept Linda's voice as the official record. Lauren had to account for what she could. Some pieces were gone. Some money was repaid in installments with help from Linda and Robert, which they hated admitting because it made all their moral lectures sound expensive. A notary got involved for updated statements. Uncle Paul insisted all acknowledgments be sent with enough time for review. Aunt Grace stopped letting Linda summarize things verbally. Daniel was no longer the convenient villain for every missing dollar. And my name for once appeared in the email chain before a decision was made. That should have felt like victory. Mostly it felt exhausting. The strangest consequence was the silence online. Linda still posted recipes, church flowers, pictures of Robert grilling, and carefully angled photos of Lauren with captions about resilience. But the big family portraits stopped. The newsletters got shorter. One year-end letter mentioned a challenging season of private family matters, which was Linda's way of saying, "Please admire how dignified I am while not asking what happened." Several relatives did ask. Not aggressively, but enough. "Will Claire be at Thanksgiving? Was Claire invited? Is everyone included in the heirloom emails?" Those questions changed the temperature. Linda could no longer rely on people assuming I had chosen absence. She now had to prove invitation. That alone was worth more than any apology she could have staged. I did not cut off everyone. I kept talking to Maya. I answered Aunt Grace when she reached out respectfully. I slowly rebuilt a few cousin relationships that had been damaged by years of secondhand stories. But I stopped moving money quietly. I stopped sending gifts through Linda. If I bought something for someone, I sent it directly with my name attached. If I was not invited, I did not chase the event afterward. First, that felt rude. Then it felt clean. About 5 months after the studio disaster, Linda texted me again. "Your father and I would like to have you over for dinner. Just us. We miss you. Can we please have one evening without bringing old pain?" There it was again. Old pain. I read it while standing in my kitchen, waiting for coffee to brew. The same kitchen floor where I had once cried over Maya's text. The same counter where I had eaten toast the night Linda's invitation arrived. My life had not transformed into something glamorous. I still had bills, errands, laundry, bad sleep sometimes. But my home felt different because no one in it was asking me to disappear politely. I replied, "Old pain is not the problem. Current dishonesty is. If you want dinner, start by correcting what you told people about me refusing invitations and not contributing. Then we can discuss whether a private conversation makes sense." Linda answered, "So you want us to humiliate ourselves?" I wrote, "I want you to tell the truth you were comfortable letting me carry the consequences for." She did not respond. Robert sent me a separate text the next morning. "Your mother is trying." I wrote, "Trying to regain access is not the same as taking responsibility." He sent nothing else. Lauren lasted longer without contacting me directly. Then one evening I got a message from her that looked like it had been typed after wine. "I hope you're happy. People look at me differently now. You ruined my reputation over things Grandma wouldn't have wanted us fighting about." I stared at the message and felt, surprisingly, very little. A year earlier I would have written paragraphs. I would have explained that Grandma Evelyn cared deeply about fairness, that selling sentimental items was not a private coping skill, that using me as a false witness was not sisterhood. I would have tried to make Lauren understand me. Instead, I wrote one line. "No. I refused to lend mine to fix yours." She replied, "You've always hated me." I did not answer. A few minutes later, Maya texted, "Lauren is spiraling in the cousin chat. Do you want screenshots?" I thought about it. There was a time I would have wanted every word. Proof had been oxygen for a while. But I didn't need to collect every insult anymore. I had enough. I wrote, "Only if she says something that affects paperwork. Otherwise, no." Maya sent back, "Proud of you. I won't pretend I became magically indifferent. Being excluded for years hurts. Being used hurts differently. It makes you look back at every moment of hope and wonder whether you were naive or just human." I still have days when I remember standing in that studio, holding a folder with my name on it, realizing my family had finally made space for me because they needed a signature. But I also remember walking out. I remember my car door closing. I remember Maya saying, "Don't give them a scene. Give them a record." I remember Aunt Grace asking in front of everyone whether the document was real. I remember Linda having no caption ready for that. The folder still exists. I don't open it often. It is there for practical reasons, not emotional ones. The family group chat is muted and no longer pinned. I deleted the shortcut to Linda's photo albums from my phone. I stopped checking whether new pictures include me. They usually don't, and now that tells the truth better than any caption. What changed is that my silence is no longer available to be used as consent. I didn't ruin the family photo. I ruined the lie behind it. If you liked it, don't forget to leave a comment and support the channel by subscribing. See you in the upcoming stories.